But here's what we have, the latest news on the Trump crime family. Let's play their theme song, Matt. That's the official theme song for the crime family of Donald Trump from now on. I have to be honest, the Trump administration, the Trump presidency is going to make an amazing crime miniseries on Netflix one day. I can't wait. Maybe, I'm not sure, or maybe a series about like the making of the criminal president, but there's so much crime going on. And first I have to address some of the lies. And again, I can't help it. When it has to do with legal stuff, I'm going to do my best as a lawyer to go through the garbage, the lies, and make it clear in a simple, straightforward, very, very honest way, objectively, what is the law. So Donald Trump yesterday was again saying, and today, this morning, we'll play a clip in a second, that the crime, that Michael Cohen didn't plead guilty to a crime dealing with federal election violations. He tweeted, the Trump presidency is going to, no, he actually tweeted, Michael Cohen pled guilty to 2 counts of campaign finance regulations that are not a crime. They're not a crime, folks. And today he reiterated that on Fox News. Let's hear clip number 3.
Did you know about the payments?
Later on, I knew. Later on. But you have to understand, Ainsley, what he did, and they weren't taken out of campaign finance. That's a big thing. That's a much bigger thing. Did they come out of the campaign? They didn't come out of the campaign. My first question when I heard about it was, did they come out of the campaign? Because that could be a little dicey. And they didn't come out of the campaign, and that's big. But they weren't, it's not even a campaign violation.
He was trying to say it's not a crime because it's not a campaign violation. He tweeted yesterday, it's not a crime. Guess what? Not a surprise. Trump's lying. Trump knows it's a lie. This is one clearly. And he just wants his supporters to mimic and parrot that. In fact, we did have one, I think, yesterday who called the show and said the campaign violations are not even a crime. That person didn't know that. That person who called is a well-intentioned person. They didn't research Federal Election Commission laws. Of course not. They heard Donald Trump and Fox News lie to them about that. Here's, first of all, let's use common sense. Michael Cohen goes to federal criminal court and pleads guilty to 8 counts. 2 of them have to deal with campaign violations. You don't go to criminal court and plead guilty to how much you love the Drake video. I mean, you go to court, you plead guilty to crimes. That's how it works. You don't go to court there to talk to the federal judge about how great HBO's Sharp Objects is. I love the series too. But you don't go to federal criminal court for that. You go to plead guilty to crimes. In crimes, and to be clear, and today I spent some time, this is what I do in my preparation, and also because I enjoy it, I read the Michael Cohen plea agreement that was entered Tuesday. Now it's online. It's a public document. And also the statement of facts. We'll go through it. It is stunning. It is unreal what's in the statement of facts. It is unreal. And just so it's clear for everyone, these statements, it's called statement of information, actually, not statement of facts, is filed with the federal judge, Judge Pauly, and it is under the threat of perjury if it's a lie by anything there. So when I tell you some of the stuff that's in there, but first of all, the idea of a crime, just so it's clear, in the plea agreement itself, there are 8 counts that Michael Cohen pled guilty to. The last 2, 7 and 8, have to do with Federal Election Commission laws. Very specifically, for those following along at home, it says in the plea agreement, Michael Cohen pled guilty to violating 52 U.S. Code Section 3016, 3019, and 18 U.S. Code Section 2. In both counts, 7 and 8, in human language, what that means is he pled guilty to making excessive campaign contributions, number 1, and 2, causing an unlawful corporate contribution, both stemming from payments by Michael Cohen to keep 2 women, Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal, allegations of an affair quiet out of the public eye in the closing months of the campaign. Here's the other part of why we know it's a crime. You want to know what the penalty is for this? 5 years in jail for each. You have to say that's a crime, huh? You can go to jail and a fine of $250,000 on each count, up to 5 years in jail. It is a crime. Now, just so everyone knows the full picture, and you could be smarter than anyone who watches Fox News, there is a difference. There are campaign violations that are not a crime. There are some that are civil. The difference between a civil one, which is CIVIL, that kind of civil, and one that's a crime is very simple. Civil ones are things that are done inadvertently. John McCain's campaign, President Obama's campaign, they both had campaign violations. They were civil, that they were inadvertent violations. They paid a fine. When does it become a crime? Here's the big thing. When it is knowing and willfully a violation of the law. So if you knowingly and willfully violate a federal election campaign law, it's a crime. That's why the penalty there, 5 years. It's got to have a penalty. If we don't have it. So, and by the way, Donald Trump, just to clarify one other thing, him saying in that interview that aired this morning on Fox News that the money didn't come from the campaign and that's all the difference, that means nothing. Zero. It means nothing at all. Don't listen. He spews so much stuff so that when we fact check it, it becomes confusing again. Ignore it. The bottom line is that, and we'll go through it more, but Donald Trump saying he didn't know about the campaign payments until later. That's also a lie. And just to refresh everyone's recollection here, this is from last month. It was a tape that Michael Cohen's attorney revealed to the public. It was from September 2016. Donald Trump speaking to Michael Cohen, referencing the National Enquirer's publisher, who's got the perfect name for a Trump friend, David Pecker, whose name is not just funny, but it's really important. I'll get to that in a few minutes, why it's actually important. But here it is from Chris Cuomo setting up this audio, because it's kind of garbled slightly, but Chris explains exactly what it is. So even if you don't hear all the words, you know what Chris is talking about here. So let's go to clip number, I think is it 2? Is that the one?
We have one of the Michael Cohen recording of President Trump back in 2016 made by Cohen, in which he and then candidate Trump discuss arrangements surrounding a payment to former Playboy playmate Karen McDougal that was made by a third party, David Pecker, as head of the National Enquirer. This all happened in the months before the election.
I need to open up a company for the transfer of all of that info regarding our friend David, so that I'm going to do that right away. I've actually come up and I've spoken to Alan Weisselberg about how to set the whole thing up with
So what are we going to do?
funding. Yes. And it's all the stuff, because, you never know where that company, you never know what he's going to be. Correct. So I'm all over that. And I spoke to Alan about it when it comes time for the financing, which will be.
What financing?
We'll have to pay you. So
Don't pay the cash.
No. I got no.
Oh, there it was. The idea, this is from September 2016, this audio, Donald Trump saying today, I didn't know about it until afterwards. No, he knew about it during the time of it. And wait till I share what's in the statement of information that the media is covering, but I don't know why they're not covering in detail. I just assume maybe they're not reading everything. But so David Pecker is there. They reference David Pecker, and that we're going to pay Karen McDougal the money to David Pecker to keep her story silent. That's September 2016. Donald Trump's like, I didn't know about it till later. He's actually talking about the financing. Don't use cash, or maybe use cash. I think he's saying don't use cash. So here's the big question. Some people might ask, why would Donald Trump need to break the law? Why would he need to violate campaign laws? So let's go put this in context. Let's remind everyone, let's take us all back, October 2016. The election is closer than any of us want, at least on our side. And what happens? October 8th, 2016, the Access Hollywood tape comes out. Donald Trump is caught bragging about sexually assaulting women. So it's October 8th, 2016, a month before the election. And what does Trump do? Women come forward, other women come forward and say, Donald Trump did the same thing to me as on that tape. He abused me, molested me, attacked me. Donald Trump has a big rally. And what does Donald Trump say at this rally? Let's hear clip number 2.
Every woman lied when they came forward to hurt my campaign. Total fabrication. The events never happened. Never. All of these liars will be sued after the election is over.
So Donald Trump is out there telling people that women who came forward are liars, and the crowd's cheering. And the women, they went on TV, they came forward, but they didn't have a lot of independent, objective evidence besides their story. Now, I believe them. I'm just telling you what was lacking, perhaps. Well, Karen McDougal and Stormy Daniels have proof. In fact, what happens, and this is from the statement of information that was filed with the court Tuesday, On or about October, so within a day of the Access Hollywood tape comes out, it says an adult film actress, woman number 2, which was Stormy Daniels, went to the editor of a publication, which we're going to assume is David Pecker, or from his publication, and was willing to make a public statement and confirm on the record her alleged affair with Donald Trump. Now, they don't put Trump's name in there, but this is all clear what's going on. So what happens is Access Hollywood tape comes out. Donald Trump's out there attacking the women as liars. If Stormy Daniels would come forward and show the pictures, we've all seen the picture with her and Donald Trump with his arms around her, and I'm sure she's got other pictures, and came out and showed the world that they had an affair. And if Karen McDougal did the same thing, it undermines his entire denial. Because all of a sudden he's like, no, those women are all liars. But this woman, okay, she's a liar, but she has proof. Okay, she's telling the truth. And all of a sudden it starts chipping away. So what happens? October 8th, the Access Hollywood tape comes out. After that, Stormy Daniels comes forward through this editor saying, we want money to buy my story or I'm going public. October 27th, 2016, Michael Cohen goes to the bank, wires approximately $130,000 from his shell company he created called Essential Consultants, sends it to Stormy Daniels' lawyer. It says right in the statement of information, and this is very interesting, Cohen, the defendant, caused and made the payments described herein in order to influence the 2016 presidential election. In so doing, he coordinated with one or more members of the campaign, it's the Trump campaign, including through meetings and phone calls about the fact, nature, and timing of the payments. It goes on to say, quote, Cohen made a $130,000 payment to woman number 2, which is Stormy, to ensure that she did not publicize damaging allegations before the 2016 presidential election and thereby influence that election. Game, set, match. Checkmate. Whatever you want to say. This is unreal. And it gets even more stunning. And when I go through more of this in a second to show you how much planning that the Trump campaign did and how early in their campaign they began plotting to pay off women, you're going to realize this is a crime family, that there's no doubt that Donald Trump is a co-conspirator in this crime. Because to remind everybody, what I just read to you, that was from the pleadings that went to the court. It was filed with the court under threat of perjury. That Michael Cohen said on record, he did all of this at the direction and the coordination of Donald Trump. So that's where the violation of the laws are. You have the 2 statutes I read for you that each carry up to 5 years in jail. Michael Cohen pled guilty to both and said he did those violations of the law at the direction of and in the coordination of Donald Trump. You have all the elements of a criminal conspiracy right there. And it got worse today for Trump, if that's even possible. It did. David Pecker, the guy who ran the National Enquirer, guess what? We learned today, he turns out he's working with the prosecutors, and he corroborated Michael Cohen's accounts. The Wall Street Journal reported, this is based on their reporting, so if something is wrong, I'm telling you this is based on WSJ's reporting, that Pecker was granted immunity in exchange for information about payments Mr. Cohen arranged in an effort to silence 2 women, including Mr. Trump's knowledge of the deals. So not just information about the payments, but also that Donald Trump knew about these. The reports say Pecker has been cooperating for the investigators for months since his company was subpoenaed the same time as Mr. Cohen's offices were raided. So why is it so bad about this new thing with David Pecker? Now you've got 2 people, Michael Cohen and David Pecker, who could very well testify. But they certainly have told Robert Mueller about this, but could testify in open court if it gets to that Donald Trump knew everything what was going on, that he directed the payment, he knew who the payment were going to, and he knew why they were being made to influence the election for federal office. And to remind everyone, under federal election laws, that is the standard. There's a reason why it's literally in the statement of information. Under federal election laws, a contribution is anything of value made by any person for the purpose of influencing any election for federal office, then hence it is regulated by the federal election laws. Here is what's remarkable in the statement of information filed by the prosecutors based on Michael Cohen's words. Here's unbelievable. In June 2015, the Trump campaign began. This is what it says. In or about August 2015, we're talking 2 months later, It says the chairman of the company, which is David Pecker, in coordination with Michael Cohen and one or more members of the Trump campaign, offered to help deal with negative stories about Trump's, they don't have his name here, but Trump's relationships with women by, among other things, assisting the campaign in identifying such stories so they could be purchased and their publication avoided. Pecker agreed to keep Cohen apprised of any such negative stories. So in layman's talk, June 2015, the campaign kicks off. Donald Trump comes down, starts spewing bigotry about Mexicans. 2 months later, August 2015, they have a meeting with Cohen, David Pecker, Trump people, saying there are a lot of women out there who Donald Trump has slept with, and some of them might come forward for money, and they're going to hurt your campaign. So 2 months into our campaign, we're already a war room plotting how to stop these women from going forward by paying them hush money. This is August 2015. This is unreal, right? So they were conspiring to violate Federal Election Commission laws from August 2015. Now, the statement of information says 1 year later, August 5th, 2016, Corporation One, which is David Pecker's company, entered an agreement with woman number one, who is Karen McDougal, the Playboy Playmate, for $150,000 to buy her life story, to having about a relationship with a married man who's Trump. They have the whole agreement. They make the deal. There's a question if she was paid or not, but they make the deal. So to sum up, forget all the legalese. To sum up, federal prosecutors say that beginning within 2 months of the Trump campaign, they began plotting to pay off any women who would come forward to hurt the campaign by giving them money, by buying them off. Obviously, it's all intended to influence the election. And there's no doubt Michael Cohen, who pled guilty, it's undisputed, they paid off Stormy Daniels within hours of the campaign, almost election day, within a week of election day, after the Access Hollywood tape, to stop her because they knew how bad it could be. And Karen McDougal before that. And Trump, Cohen, and Pecker knowingly and willfully violated Federal Election Commission laws. Pecker has immunity. Michael Cohen pled guilty. There's only one co-conspirator still out there. Who could that be? We know who it is. It's Donald Trump. Folks, forget impeachment. My article came out today. I was talking to you my idea yesterday. I wrote it, and it's up on the Daily Beast, or it's at Dean Obeidallah. Would impeachment mean anything? Look, we're 2 days after finding out Michael Cohen directly implicates the president of the United States in violating campaign laws. He committed election fraud to win this election. And what is the response to the Republicans? Silence. They are not going to even have hearings. They're not going to impeach Donald Trump. That means a criminal will be in office for the next 2 years. I believe so strongly that Robert Mueller should make a test case here. I outlined it yesterday. It's in my article today. And indict Donald Trump and let the Supreme Court finally decide once and for all if a sitting president can be indicted, because there's no prohibition in the Constitution. There's no prohibition anywhere except two DOJ memos. That's not the law. Those are internal DOJ regulations. It is time. Think about this. A man is in the White House who committed election fraud with Michael Cohen and David Pecker to allow him to win an election and to conceal information weeks before the election, when they have an obligation within 20 days of the election to report within 48 hours any kind of big expenditures like this. That was knowingly and willfully did not do it. Only when they got caught. And Donald Trump gets caught lying over and over and over. And of course, what are Trumpers saying? Donald Trump today, and I don't even want to play his stupid voice for you, but brought up Hillary Clinton. I'm not even kidding. But what about Hillary? And what about Russia? Look, the Mueller appointment by Rod Rosenstein said specifically to investigate, one, any kind of coordination between the Trump campaign and Russia, and two, any other crimes they uncover in the course of that investigation. The idea that Trumpers actually want us to sit here and go like, hey, it has nothing to do with Russia, so you can't investigate or prosecute a criminal. That's outrageous. So we just let criminals go? No. The mandate of Rod Rosenstein's order that appointed Robert Mueller made it very clear. Any crime he uncovers, he has the authority to prosecute. And again, this was prosecuted not even by Robert Mueller. This was prosecuted by the Southern District of New York because Mueller sent it over because it had nothing to do with Russia. That's where we stand. So I'd love to hear from you. You're my guest right to the top of the hour. What do you think? Do you think it's worthwhile to do impeachment? Do you think it helps at all? If the Democrats get the House, do you think day one they should start impeachment hearings, or is that a waste of time? Let's think this through. We're going to have Tara Dardell on at the top of the hour, Democratic strategist. So much going on with the Democrats saying, don't bring up the I word, don't bring up impeachment. I say bring up the other I word, indictment. Donald Trump should be indicted. We have a criminal who's in the White House, undisputed. Indict him, and let's see if the federal courts say we can do it. Go forward, prosecute him. You can have a trial in 3 or 4 weeks, and it's all over. It's over for everyone. And if Trump is acquitted, he continues without a cloud of criminality.